Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today's build and play guide is on the new Japanese light cruisers. We're going to start with Agano, and these will be in a playlist in order if you do want to see them. So I was super excited for this line, and we're going to talk about the commanders. There is a lot of commander options you could do here, including Makawa. And going with like a stealth build to sneak from island to island, it's an option. It's not one I would particularly choose because I think if you have a Taigo or Haguru, building up that HE is actually pretty effective. This is also a decent candidate for if you don't have any of that stuff. If you have Yamamoto, this is actually a better candidate for this than I thought it would be. Uh, because the AP is not as bad as I thought it was going to be on this. I've gotten a fair amount of Citadels, particularly on other Aganos, but if you want this for the build beyond range, igniter, and punch through, I would keep that because speed won't really help you. You're going to be behind islands in the ship. We'll talk about that more in a second. And fortified, it doesn't matter how much health this thing has, it's going to explode. So 2% health is not going to help you in any sort of way. So I would still keep punch through because the AP with his base trait and the punch through perk, this thing actually probably not terrible with AP when you need it. It does seem to be pretty effective for me. And then with all these builds, it will be a Kuzganov and Membeli. Unless you're doing that Makawa build, you're probably going to want Swirsky on that to get your detectability down. But for what we're doing, a Tago or Haguro, I feel, is probably your best bet if you have them. Again, with Kuzganov and Membeli, base trait is deck is on fire, beyond range, igniter, hellfire, fixated, and honestly, a person could do refill station here. I actually like having the extra catapult fighter because it helps me spot. You're going to be behind islands in this, and if you're not in a division, you really do need the spotting. So sometimes it comes in real handy, sometimes it doesn't. But uh, like I said, you could go with refill station as well. It's probably the smartest pick, but for my play style, I don't play in division, so I need a fully packed. With that being said, the upgrade or for the mods, you're definitely going to want to take aiming system mod 1. And hear me out for this because people are going to think with the turrets, you're probably going to want to go up main battery mod 2. The turrets actually do a full 360 degrees. For sure, at least the front ones do. So when that happens, I generally stay away from main battery mod 2. And also with this ship, it is quite inaccurate, which is okay if you're spamming HE, but it can really be inaccurate at times. And when I did switch this, I did notice a big difference on it, and I really did. So for your mods, you definitely are going to want the firing range increase first, your hull upgrade second, and your torpedo upgrade third. Uh, so for your consumables, you have 4 sonars with this build, and they're not terrible, but they're not super effective. You're not really going to be using these a whole lot. Only when you think people are sneaking up to you or close in. 4 catapult fighters. This actually comes in handy for, like I said, your own spotting. For specs, some of this is going to get shown in the armor, but that hit point number, it could be whatever fake number you want it to be. You could put 900,000 in there. It's still going to take, it's going to get dev strike like nothing else. This ship, uh, if you get seen in this ship and people shoot at you, it's like the Danae or Mino. If you get hit, you will explode. In fact, if a battleship even looks at it in the right format and sneezes near it, it blows up. All right, so you have to keep that in mind. For me, this was a tough ship to learn because I am very much a aggressive player, and I cannot stand sitting behind islands waiting for spotting. And that's what you have to do on this ship. It doesn't, even with the rudder upgrade, it's only like 7.4. You cannot open boat, divert, and try to dodge and weave. It just doesn't start and stop good enough, and the rudder is terrible, especially early on when you don't have the hull upgrade. For the guns, these actually, I when I looked at it, I thought these were going to be pretty bad, but they're not. They're inaccurate, but boy, when they hit, they can really do some damage. Very good fire chance. Even though it's 6 shells, you are reloading at 8 seconds. So you're not getting a lot of shells for a light cruiser, but what you are getting is pretty effective, especially at tier 4. And that AP looks laughable, but to be honest, guys, I've had this thing pretty good. I had one match where I had like 9 citadels with it. If somebody gives you a broadside, don't hesitate to throw AP at this thing, especially at close range, because you might need to citadel the crap out of another cruiser before it kills you. If you get put in that scenario. Torpedoes, it has really good torpedoes. However, you're going to be behind islands, and they're almost useless unless you're using them as defensive torps. AA defense, even with the upgrade of the hull upgrade that gives you more AA mounts, this thing has nothing. I've been in a lot of carrier battles today. That's a very big weakness of the ship because you're getting spotted quite a bit. And I'm guessing, I don't know, I'm guessing the most planes I've taken down is 4, even when I've gotten focused. Maneuverability, it's not good. It's actually a lot worse than what this looks like. It's very slow accelerating. Uh, and the turning circle for a cruiser at tier 4 is not good. The rudder before you get the upgrade, I think, is close to 10. It's not great. Concealment isn't too bad. Statistics, and you guys are going to laugh hysterically at this. And trust me, I was too. First things on out here, guys. The first 2 matches I was in, 2 matches, got spotted by a carrier, and I didn't even see who shot me both times, and I got wiped off the map. The third match, I got 2 shells from Izmail, the Russian Tier 5 battleship. 2 shells hit me and exploded me. Uh, so, like I said, the start on this was super rough, and I got a rude awakening with this. You do not want to get spotted by carriers, and you do not want to get seen while you're going to islands. That's why the Makawa build is a reasonable one if you're into that. Also, you're going to notice only 4 battles survived. So that means I've died 9 times in this ship. 8 of them were dev strikes. I have a whole notebook right here. You can hear it. I always pay attention to stuff. This thing is, I wish I had saved all the clips of getting dev struck in this thing. No matter what you do, you can't angle, maybe against light cruisers, but everything else is going to go straight through you. But if you take all that away and look at the torp accuracy, not great, but yeah, the cruiser torps. You're just throwing them out there to see what happens. The main gun accuracy, that was at 25% for my first half of the games, and now it's went up to 33. That dispersion definitely helps. And this obviously struggled with this ship because it does not fit my playstyle. Even at tier 4, it was a struggle. Also because I've been in a lot of tier 5 matches. But your overall average damage, if you take out them 3 zeros where I didn't even shoot around, it's actually not terrible on damage. If you can get somewhere to an island, this thing does have the ability to wreck an entire team, especially if you're in a division. I don't play divisions, but if you had somebody spotting for you, this thing could be real crazy. For armor, it has none. I'll be honest, guys. This is the most, the Danae and Mino are better than this. And I'm not exaggerating. And in fact, The Dene in Amino now are like the GK to me because after playing this line, I played some of the other ones. If you get hit in these things, you're done. At least with a Mino and a Dene, you can at least try to dodge or start and stop or hide and smoke. This you can't do that with. It is it is rough. And it gets this Citadel, whew, man, if when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, it's not great, but I did not think it was going to be as bad as it is. We're not joking uh, when they posted on the thing that on the Warships posted that these are extremely fragile, and they are, in my opinion, the most fragile ships in the game. I have never played something this fragile. As we go ahead and start this match and check who we're up against, I do want to say it is disclaimer time. This is a beginner's guide to help out people just learning this ship or learning the game in general. This is not for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything. There is also multiple ways to build and play ships, so opinions will vary. I am just a above average player. I don't claim to be the best player in the world. I just am a pretty darn good player. So I do make mistakes. You're going to see some in this match. And also, you didn't come to this video to see how to pronounce names, as I am very terrible at slaughtering other beautiful languages. It's almost an art form. So keep that in mind when you're watching this, guys. With that out of the way, and we move out of our destroyer's way, who's backing up to the back of the map, we are on New Dawn, and we are a bottom tier. There, it's a lot of tier fives. And the interesting thing about this at the time is I was not even fully upgraded yet. So, with that being said, the key to this ship is not to get spotted right away. You need to try to get to an island or not seen. That's why I'm thinking about even trying the Makawa build out more, because that could be a very good way of playing this ship to get from island to island without being spotted. So the other thing is when I talked about how bad the ship takes shots, that includes going broadside at close range where people would normally overpen you and not citadel. This thing will get citadeled if you go flat broadside to someone at close range. It will not just overpen and go through. So we're going to go ahead and throw some torps out just in case the destroyer comes up. And I want to try to get in a position. I see Agano's kind of going away, and we're going to go ahead and I can't really do anything to the West Virginia at this time, and we're going to try to sneak up here, get myself covered from the right-hand side. So I'm going to try to get in a little bit better so I don't get spotted. Now, obviously, I know I'm going to get spotted for a second here, and we're going to go ahead and take a couple shots at Königsberg here. You'll see I back up just a touch here to help get undetected. You do not want to be detected long. This is, especially with this being a new ship right now, everybody wants to shoot it. I can assure you that. Everybody wants to shoot it. So I did not realize this at the time, but somewhere in this time frame here, when we're fighting, Königsberg actually gets either disconnected or quits the match. I'm not sure. I couldn't really see him, so I was actually at this time just using auto aim. I couldn't get a good look at him. But then West Virginia comes out. I'm going to focus on him because there is a fire burning on Königsberg right now. So I figured I would leave that be. And we're going to actually just try to get, some shells at West Virginia here to get it on fire. This HE actually is pretty good. But if a cruiser gets in, within like 10 kilometers of you, don't hesitate to use AP if he gives you a broadside. Or if you get a couple fires on a battleship. So, for example, I think at some point in this match, I get a couple fires on West Virginia, and you're going to see that I switch to AP, so I don't try to, in case he's got fight fire with fire, I'm not going to help. So I'm trying to blind fire, but Not really working. I need some spotting, and our destroyer is going uh, super up now, so we don't really have much spotting. And this is what you have to do. You have to be patient, guys. Like this play style absolutely bothers the crap out of me. I am not good at sitting behind islands. This is not fun to me. I get it can be effective and it's fun for people, but this to me, sitting here waiting for spotting, is not fun to me. And if I guess if you're in a division, this could be an absolutely dominating ship if you can get to spots where you're not spotted. Now, as you can see, West Virginia is starting to push up here. So I'm going to go ahead and back up. I'm trying to see if how fast he's going and if he's making a turn. So you'll see I'm using my torpedoes for that. I'm not really trying to torp him. I'm trying to see what his plan of attack is here. So you can see I'm backing up so I can use this side of the island on him. You can see I try to stop here. I do, without propulsion mod, you can see this thing does not stop super well. But we're going to take some shots here at West Virginia. And you're actually going to see, 2,000 on a HE shell. These shells do pretty darn well. There's 1,800 on a set of them there. They're not bad. Like, the HE is pretty powerful for a light cruiser. As we get them on fire here again, as you can see, now we put him on fire. I'm going to scoot up to get not detected. I know his guns aren't pointed at me, but I don't want to be hit from somewhere else. And you can see I go ahead and use my AP now that I got 2 fires on him. Now, these aren't actually too bad. Not particularly against battleships, but other cruisers, the AP is pretty good. But you can see how inaccurate them shots are at even 10 kilometers. And it works out for the HE because it spreads out what you're going to do for fires. And we don't want to be, once we get him on fire, for you guys that are watching that might be newer, you don't want to just keep spamming fire on him in case he has fight fire with fire and the third fire puts all his fires out. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and back up for just a second here. Oh, I don't actually, but we're going to switch back to HE. He's put his fires out. His guns aren't pointed at me, but again, I don't want to be spotted. You never know where shells are going to come from that instantly wreck you on here. And you can see, it took me a while to get to this playstyle because I'll be honest, there hasn't been a ship I've done this with in the entire game. Like a little bit maybe with Cleveland, but even with that, for the most part, I'm still pretty aggressive in Cleveland. This ship, yeah, you don't want to be aggressive with this. So as you see, 40,000, we're doing okay. Tier 4, anything over 50,000 in cruisers, not bad. Now I'm going to start to move up because I see the left flank is losing, and I'm actually, that battleship was spotted pretty far out. So I was thinking if I just get to the edge of the island, peek out and spot him, he's at the range where I can spot him, but they can't spot me. And boy, was I wrong. As you can see here, I actually stopped pretty close to where I wanted to, and all of a sudden there's Queen Elizabeth only 6 kilometers away here. So we're going to back up, and I don't know what that person was aiming at to get my front bow like that, because I definitely wasn't backing up, but I got lucky there because all of their shots went through the bow. So I didn't get citadeled, and what we're doing is we're just using the front set of guns here to try to shoot, but I want to back up because I know I'm going to get charged here. So the issue I have here too is either I back up and that battleship on behind their base starts to get a shot at me, or I wait patiently here for a little bit and then do what I'm about to do, which is not smart and I don't recommend it, but it made for a good portion of this video. And like I said, you don't want to go broadside in this ship, even at close range. They do not overpen you at close range. So you're gonna see she just fired, or the Queen Elizabeth just fired the gun. So I'm gonna come out, and we're gonna go ahead and make myself as narrow as possible because whatever hit she's gonna do is gonna hurt, right? So if I make myself as narrow as possible and get close and make her freak out, because I'm gonna come up here when it gets close. You can see she starts pointing her guns to the left, so I start turning like I'm gonna ram her. And then you're gonna see real close here. We're gonna go sprinting by, and I'm gonna dump my torps. This was a lot closer than I wanted it to be honest. But as we get rid of Queen Elizabeth, I wouldn't recommend it. But at tier 4, you can get away with stuff like that. At tier 7, I'm pretty sure I would have got wrecked there because I think that person just did not get their guns where they wanted it to shoot me. Or I might have been too close, and that's might have what been saved me there. I'm not really sure, but I can assure you, probably not the smartest maneuver to do. But thankfully, we moved on. We got rid of the battleship. And we're gonna go ahead and work our way up. So now the match is pretty much over, but we've held our own. 80,000 in a cruiser, like I said, anything over 50, in a cruiser is decent. And we're gonna go ahead and move our way up. So, like I said, this is the most one-dimensional ship I've ever played, and that bothers me. And it's not that I don't like it; it's just I was super excited for this, but the fact that you can't dodge shells in this or anything, or these really good torps, you can't use them because you're not in open water. You'd have to be defensive torps, like right there, what I did. As you can see, we're going to put a couple shells down on Agano here. I'm really just trying to get myself a little bit closer. I actually thought I had a little bit more range than what I did because I just played the tier 5. And I thought I was going to be really close to being in range here on Bayern, and I was still going to be able to shoot both targets. But this is at 16 kilometers, so you're going to see me. I look and I'm like, oh, okay, I got to move up a little bit here. But honestly, so far, what I've seen from this line is a little bit disappointing. If you're a person that plays in Division and you get spotting, I've had pretty good luck with spotting in this match, and I absolutely, did pretty well in this match. But with, if you don't have spotting or you're not in a division, this can be rough to play because you really need to just snake between mountains or islands with this. And it's sad that it's that one-dimensional, but it is. And I'm not a big fan of one-dimensional ships. So, again, didn't realize it. This player actually rage quits as well, which honestly, his team, you know what? It wasn't the best luck on him for matchmaking, because me and New Mexico, I believe there was a New Mexico in here, just really doing well. As you can see, we're getting a lot of shatters, and sometimes this HE does this as we get our high caliber. Now, obviously, I see the smoke come up, and I'm gonna go ahead and switch to AP because I actually want to go ahead and get some citadels on Agano there. So we're going to go ahead, come up, and you can see we get a citadel there. I think we actually only maybe get one here, but you can see that, the AP is not awful, and it does do some damage, particularly on cruisers under 10 kilometers. And then from here on out, it is just going to be us taking shots at Agano, but he's out in the open, and he survived way longer than I ever have out in the open, but there he's gone. Anyway, guys, high cal, 97,000 damage, but more importantly, we helped our team win the match, which can be a little bit tough in this ship. 2,000 base is solid, and a GG's to New Mexico, who had a really great game as well. Anyway, hopefully this helps you out, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, folks.